Okay, so yesterday, which was Wednesday, today's Thursday, we worked on measuring with a ruler. For the most part, you guys know what to do. You need to make sure that we start our ruler lined up with the zero, right?
Yes.
Okay, but what I noticed when I was checking through your seesaw activities, some of us had a hard time identifying when it was like a fourth or a half or a 3/4. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at today on these rulers. Can a ruler be thought of as like a number line?
Yes.
Yes, it's just like it. So when we look at just the 0 and the 1, let's start there. Pretend like the rest of this ruler is not here, because we've learned fractions between 0 and 1 whole, right? And what did we learn to do when we needed to label these points on the number line? Allie?
Like you put 1, 2, 3, like maybe if it's really small, like number.
But how do I know what to number it? We've learned to do something first.
With those numbers and that's letters.
Yes, but how do I know what number? Kaylee?
From counting. In the middle is 1/2.
In the middle we know is always going to be 1/2. Okay? But we count the
Numbers.
spaces between 0 and 1. Okay? So if I start at 0, I'm going to count the spaces. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. From 0 to 1. Okay? So that means I can make my denominator of 4 because I counted 4 spaces. So if this is 0, what does this first line need to be? What comes after 0?
1.
1.
1.5.
Not 1.5, but 1/4 because we counted 4 spaces. Okay? Now when we get right here, we could label it what? 2/4. Or what else? 1/2. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1/2 underneath. Okay? What would this be, Javea? 3/4. And then 1 whole would be how many fourths? 4/4. Hello, y'all wake up. Everybody should be responding. That should be easy. 1 whole equals what? 4/4. There we go. We're waking up. So now, when you get past 1, all you do is repeat that pattern, but you put a whole number with it. Okay? So now this mark is going to not just represent 1/4 again. It's going to be 1 1/4. Okay? So what would be here? What would come next? 1 2/4. Good. Or what else could we say? 1.5. Okay? This line would be 1 3/4. Allie, I like that you're trying to participate and call out answers, but make sure you're thinking and thinking about it before you call out an answer. We're all only doing fourths on this one because we've already counted 4 spaces. Okay? So now I'm at 2. So the pattern is going to start back over. What would be right here? Evangeline, what would be right here after the 2? Two and 1/4. Good. So again, that pattern has started back over with 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. But now, instead of putting a 1 there, we've changed it to a 2. Okay, now I want you guys to go ahead and see if you can label all the way to the end. Okay, so what would come after 2 and 1/4? 2 and 1/4. Next would be what? 2 and 2/4. Why are y'all so quiet? Are you confused? Right here could also be 2 and 1/2. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to pause this video and give you guys a chance at home to do the same thing. Finish this ruler labeling. The pattern will continue 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. The only thing that changes is the whole. Okay, so let's see what you got for the rest of your ruler. So we stopped here at 2 and 2/4. So next would be 2 and 3/4. Okay. Now once I get to the next whole number, which is 3, that pattern starts back over. So you could have put 1/4 here, then 2/4, then 3/4. The only thing that changes now is my whole number in front. For this section, I put 2's in front. Now I should change it to 3 in front. 3 and 1/4, 3 and 2/4, 3 and 3/4. Okay, now I've gotten back to my next whole number, so the pattern will start back over. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. But what needs to go in front of the fraction?
4.
4, good. Now I've gotten to 5, so the pattern starts over again. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So I would have a 5 in front now. Okay? Now let's go back up to our paper clip. What does the paper clip equal?
2/4.
No.
2/4.
1 and 2/4. I'm going to put it up here because I've kind of used this line. So 1 and 2/4. Or, what else could I say? 1 and a half. Good, Kaylee. Okay, let's look at B. Let's measure the pencil.
6 inches.
They made this one easy on you, so I follow the pencil down. It lands right on the 6, so that means the pencil is 6 inches. Okay, C.
3.5.
Okay, so we know it's going to be 3 something, so I'm looking here, 3 and 4. Kaylee said 3.5, but let's make sure we know. But how did you know, or why did you think that would be a half, Kaylee?
Because it's split in half.
It's split in half, okay, so it's right in the middle.
Or it would be 3 and 2/4.
Okay, so we could also say it's 2/4 because it's split into 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this first one would be 3 and 1/4, 3 and 2/4, 3 and 3/4. But since it's right in the middle, we also say that's equal to 3 and a half. Okay, so the nail was 3.5 inches. Okay, the last one. What would this one equal, Allie?
2
2
inches.
inches. Good. Okay, so now let's set this to the side. The next thing I want to work on is counting by halves. Okay. So if it were 0 to start, the first one would be half, and then 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, good, 3.5, 4, 4.5, good. Okay, let's try the next one. 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10, good. 10.5. What would come next, Avea? 11, good. Evangeline, what comes next? 11.5, good. Okay, let's look at the next one. 22, 22.5, 23. Jalen, what comes next? Okay, good. 23.5. And then next would be what, Kelsey? 24. 24.5. Allie? 25. Good. Okay, let's start. Let's do one of these down here together. I want you guys to choose. Out of F, G, H, and I, which one would y'all want to do together? G. Okay. So we can either start at 8 and go backwards, or we could start at 8 and go forwards. Either way, we still have to fill in. We still have to do both. Y'all want to go backwards? Okay, so if I were to go backwards, I would have to have a lower number, right? So what comes before 8? 7. But I can't just put 7 there.
7.5.
Good, so 7.5. And then 7. Okay, so 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5. Good. All right, so I'm going to leave the rest of those for y'all to do. And now I want to look at the relationship between fractions that are equivalent to a half. So flip to the page that looks like this with bars. And we're going to color in half, okay? So this first strip represents halves, right? So this is 1 half, 2 halves. So if I shade in a half, over here, the empty box would be 1. Okay? Now the next one. If I were to shade in half of this bar, how many would I shade?
2.
I would shade in 2, yes. So 1, 2. And I can tell that equals a half. How? Haley says I can do a straight line down.
It's equal.
It matches, it's equal. Okay, so 2/4 is equal to a half.
Yes.
Okay, the next one, Jalen, how many boxes would I color in to equal a half? What do you think would come next? 3 of them? We don't say 3.5, but just 3 boxes. So this would equal 3/6 down here at the bottom because I shaded in 3 out of 6 boxes. Okay, Javea, how many do you think I'm going to shade in on the next one? Say that again. 4. And how did you know? It matches the line. Going down, good. The line going down still matches the half, and that would be 4 of these boxes. So, Evangeline, what would my numerator be over here?
4.
4, good.
It's mostly that number plus that number equals.
Yep, that's what we're about to talk about. Okay, how many would I shade on the next one, Allie?
5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tenths. Okay, now I don't have any bars to match now. I don't have anything to shade. But can you predict what the next fraction would be if I were to continue finding fractions equivalent to a half?
Yes, I know.
What could I put, Kelsey?
You could draw, like, on the first one you could put 14 boxes and then you would like draw 14 boxes on the line.
I could do 14. Why'd you pick 14?
On the first one.
Can we pick 12 next? Because it's going by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so 12 is my denominator. What would the numerator be?
6.
Evangeline?
6.
6. And how did you know? Same thing, Evangeline.
Because half of 12 is 6.
Good. So we've noticed that 5 is half of 10. 4 is half of 8. 3 is half of 6. 2 is half of 4. And 6 is half of 12. Okay? So I knew the next fraction would be 6/12 because 6 is half of 12. Okay, so anytime the numerator is half of the denominator, then that fraction is equivalent to what? The fraction is equivalent to 1/2. Okay, so what pattern did you notice?
Ooh, I know.
Kelsey?
That they went by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. The numerators went in order. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Javea? And the denominator counted by 2. So the numerator counted by 1s. And denominator skipped by 2s, or went up by 2s. Okay? Is that the only thing we saw though? What if I had not gone in order, if I had skipped around, if I had not put 4 8s there? We couldn't have said that, but we could see another pattern though, right?
Yes.
What was the pattern you saw between the numerator and the denominator? 3 is half of 6. Could you say something else?
Yes.
Kaylee, you said it earlier. If you add it twice, it equals the denominator. Or if you double it, it equals the denominator. So 3 plus 3 equals 6. 4 plus 4 equals 8. 5 plus 5 equals 10. 6 plus 6 equals 12. Okay, so that could be a pattern you saw. You could double the numerator. To get the denominator. Okay, so we should be able to tell fractions that are equal to a half without having to do all this shading, without needing a number line, because anytime the numerator is half of that denominator, then that tells us it's equal to a half, right, Allie? So now at the bottom, let's figure out what we would put as our numerators for these to make them equal to 1/2. What would I do for 14ths? What would the numerator be?
7.
7. Good. Because 7 is half of 14. Okay, let's go to 20.
8. 10. 10.
10, because 10 is half of 20.
10 plus 10 equals 20.
Okay,
12.
half of 18.
12.
I'm going out of order for a reason, so stay with me. 9. Good, Aaliyah. Yeah, she said it. 22.
12.
11, because 11 plus 11 is 22.
Oh.
12 plus 12 would be 24.
Oh, because you had to.
So that would be 12 24ths. Okay. 16. What's half of 16? 8. So all of these are equal to 1/2. Make sense? Jalen, make sense? Okay, so this back page I'm going to let you guys do on your own. It's filling in the fractions equal to 1/2. That's probably the easiest one in this packet. So let's go to this page. We're going to practice putting fractions in order from smallest to largest. Okay? So first thing I want you to do is find the fraction in this group that's equal to 1/2 and circle it. Circle the one that you think is equal to 1/2. We just did this together, practicing finding halves. So circle the one that you think is equal to 1/2. 3/4, 3/6, or 1/8. Okay, what do you think, Javea? Which one? Remember, the numerator has to be half the denominator, so is 3 half of 4? Yes or no? Okay, good. 3/6 because 3 is half of 6. Okay, so we're going to circle that. That one needs to be in the middle. Now these two left, one has to be the largest and one has to be the smallest. We want to find the smallest first. Okay? If I look at this, I'm going to say, well, to myself, 4/8 equals 1/2. So 1/8 has to be less than or greater than 1/2? Less than. So this needs to be first.
Yes.
Okay? 3/4, well, half of 4 is 2. So if it's 3 on top, then 3/4 is going to be greater than 1/2. So this needs to be at the end because it's the largest. So we didn't have to do all that cross multiplying business. We just needed to know what 1/2 equals. Okay? So let's try the next one together. Circle the one that's equal to 1/2, which should be pretty easy on this one. Which one is it, Allie? 1/2. So that goes in the middle. So these two left over need to be in the front or the back. Okay, so what is 1/6 going to be if I had to change it to 1/2?
That would be less than 2/6. That would be 3.
It would be 3. Good, Allie. So 1/6 has to be less than 1/2, right?
Yes.
Because this is 1/2. 1 is less than that. So this needs to go in the front, right? Because that would be smaller than 1/2. Okay? 7/10. Well, what would be half of 10? 5/10. So 7/10 has to be greater or less than that? It's greater than 1/2. So it can't go before the half and has to go after it. Okay? Does that make sense now?
Yes.
We're finding the half and putting that in the middle first. Okay, and then the other two, if it's less than a half, it goes in front. If it's more than a half, it goes at the end. Okay, so you guys have two things to do. We're going to finish this. Finish the front of that. Actually 3, and then you have the very back that has the missing numerator.
That was easy.
It's very easy, okay? So the missing numerator, fill in skipping by halves, and then least to greatest, putting the fractions in order, okay?